in your umbrella. See her parasailing down. See her turning on the microphone. Out of sight, going out of sight. You see my mother, baby. You see my mother, baby. You see my mother, baby. Thank you. Thank you, John. Yeah, James came up with the line about smoking teeth, and I don't know what that means, so don't blame me, please don't. All right, now a few poems. It's really nice to be here with friends and new people to be friends with. Thank you, Nick. The life of southern coastal Wisconsin, the life force. I think I'm going to start with my holiday poem, because of the occasion. Yeah, Nico, you proudly outdueled the parade. That's fine. I wasn't going to read a poem from the book, but I thought of this one because it has an ornament in it, half inflated by its gizmo. I don't usually explain images, but you know those like giant inflatable like Santas and whatever. Orfordville, where I've lived with these guys and they have a farm, there was a lot of those when we would go walk around and see the Christmas lights. And there was one that was sort of eerily, didn't quite have enough air, so it kept kind of like sinking back and kind of going up. And I thought that's what I feel like. So it sort of came out of that. It's called The External Year. And there it was, like a storm surge or an ornament half inflated by its gizmo, not frighteningly human. We recognized ourselves in that deception, the one true like a table tilted sharply until the bowl in the dark stars below the pears is visible, pitted and grained, and nothing falls off, but the scales are folded and put away for that single use only. The thought I suggested you had stays with me. I attach so much importance to what I'm given. A man with a hooked knife paused from pruning. Embrace was a word first used of forts, until one body fell down inside the other body and was lost. So. I'll start with, I'm going to read a mix of, well, all different kinds of newer poems here. This one, I stay in Chicago during the week, but I tried staying in Waukegan briefly, in the Motel 6, and this came out of that. The crows harried and flared from the cypress, the hawk from the pine and the oak, and the utility pole, the poles of odd and even lit up. Waukegan, asbestos, brake pads in the harbor, and shaft liners dumped below the kingfisher dead in the waves. The train made the line your finger made, describing the train as it passed the porch, though you were on it and couldn't see what your hands were doing. Somehow at 11:19, the day and night will even, blooming and narrowing here and there, stand eye to eye in a measure of what happened. Beloved words for the feeling of remaining after the body has begun its public transport, away from the foremost liquor sun, a Roman blind of lowered clouds, a central street of we do go places when we move around, and then there are faces inside the line that aren't yours, and how appealing this is, these other faces. Sunday. Blue clouds on brown water, sediment churned by waves on Lake Michigan, a boat for the boy moving inland, a musical strike that may or may not be intended. Only the most vivid impressions are banal things, she says of her portrait. That was Lisa's imaginary response to the song we just wrote, which I wrote a while ago, so the song was good. Hello, Mr. Beautiful. That's how people generally address me. Hello, Mr. Beautiful. I don't know you're the hum in rare cottage, a thumping, humping, but only the water heater after a shower, telling the ear it consists in the age of signs of reusing. I never see pictures when I read, though sometimes I see the letters and sometimes I hear the words. Until the hot water, it's a terrible system, the one we've got. There's a dowel on which one could hang a tattered coat to be cut down. For a walking stick, we hold each other up. When the man of war entangles a small state of shock, walking up the beach, follows Vasco da Gama, the triangle, 3 people in the bed in waves. Is it the curse of our age, or what the will-o'-the-wisp ignis fatuus moves on? I see the lights. A child pulled in Blake's spelling towards the gates of paradise. I want, forgetful like Cleopatra absent Antony, though both he and Caesar and some others were slouched right there. Enobarbus sounds like a drug is required. He doesn't interest me except archivally or symphonically. E is like 0, broken open. Your mouth hangs open, you talk in your sleep. We don't know what you say, and the cool cock of the night air, spirits in shape and sensation, of color and dimension, where a moment ago there was nothing but a dream of communication. That's my school days. Somebody told me a story once about starting school and being unhappy in school the way one is when one starts school, and then one decides to do it for the rest of one's life for some reason. This person realized, this was like in first grade or something, well, I'm just going to pretend to be happy in school. And then after a while, she actually was happy. And this was like a great revelation, that pretending to be happy and being happy were not really so different, which struck me as just so bizarre and interesting that it was called School Days, in which I say what I just said. At first, I pretended to be happy. And then I was, and then we moved away. Writing does not produce happiness, except at those times when it is mechanical and beyond question. I mean repetitive, meditative, and silent attentive, but not trying, numbering without dominion maybe, or the various surging forces in colors, words, politics, scraps, emphasis instead of empathy, or stasis. I heard the clip of the woman taking her camera from the pouch, and she saw I'd heard and couldn't snap the wan, brown-eyed Susans, my favorite flower, bobbing in the wind. And more so, a little further up the path, I was biking, I was a machine, where the sparrow sat on it, a piece of straw in its beak, proof of land. It's like the moment I stopped, the notation substitute a sensation, the old wig of a bird's nest, straw and mud upside down on a milled board, or the magic of all the arts at the triumph of a funeral. The woman gets off the wagon and says, "Take that line out."